This is newsVISION for Wednesday, November 1st. The Midland, Odessa economy jumped 11% from the third quarter of 2005 to the third quarter this year, according to an Amarillo economist who watches the trends carefully. Carr Ingham said virtually every economic indicator he tabulates was up from the same time last year, saying that the boom is indicative of the rapid economic expansion in Midland, Odessa. Ingham was all a bundle of joy, though, noting that lower petroleum prices, natural gas numbers, and rig counts were all down, pointing toward a possible slowdown in that economic expansion, saying he and his associates did everything they could to give Monica Palmer a rigorous defense in her capital murder trial. Woody Leverett listened as Judge Jody Gillis said he would take Palmer's wish for a jury trial under advisement. Palmer, who has a history of violent arrests, said her representation was incompetent when it asked her to accept a plea for life in prison, saying it was her only means of escaping a death penalty. Ralph Petty with the Midland County District Attorney's Office said Palmer should be careful what she wishes for, intimating that asking for a jury trial may just get her the death penalty she is trying to avoid. Gillis' review of Palmer's request will be forwarded to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals. President Bush says John Kerry's jab on Iraq is insulting to U.S. troops. But Kerry says the jab was intended at Bush and not the troops. Massachusetts senator is refusing the GOP's demands that he apologize. More from the Associated Press.
In an election campaign that's more and more about the war in Iraq, these comments by John Kerry at a stop in California suddenly unleashed a political war of words.
Education, if you make the most of it, you study hard, and you do your homework, and you make an effort to be smart, you can do well. If you don't, you get stuck in Iraq.
President Bush called the remarks by his 2004 election foe an insult to U.S. troops and used a Georgia rally to demand the senator retract them.
The members of the United States military are plenty smart, and they are plenty brave, and the senator from Massachusetts owes them an apology.
But Kerry says he absolutely will not apologize, telling reporters he was referring to the president who failed to do his homework on Iraq, not the brave soldiers Bush's policies have betrayed.
If anybody thinks that a veteran would somehow criticize more than 140,000 troops serving in Iraq and not the president and his people who put them there, they're crazy.
At a Seattle news conference, he called the flap an 11th-hour bid by Republicans to change the subject.
They owe us an apology for even daring to use the White House to stand up and make this an issue again. Shame on them.
The angry words contain echoes of the ones exchanged 2 years ago after the Swift boat ads sought to raise doubts about Kerry's heroics during the Vietnam War. There are also more evidence that with control of Congress at stake, the campaign's closing days contain high stakes and high anxiety. Mark Smith, The Associated Press, the White House.
In yesterday's My West Texas reader poll, 32% of 134 voters say Freddy of Nightmare on Elm Street fame is the scariest Hollywood horror creation ever. The psychotic killer just nudged out fellow psychotics Jason and Chucky and far outlasted cultural icons Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, and Wolfman. In today's poll, with Midland being ranked to the 131st safest city in America in a recent study, tell us if you feel safe being outside in your neighborhood in Midland at night. That'll do it for newsVISION. I'm Jimmy Patterson.